If you don't learn anything after watching this video, I'm going to delete my channel. Recently, I had an idea to ask top 100 players how they train, so that the rest of us scrubs can learn how we can practice the same way as the best players in Rocket League. So I went out and found 3 players with experience being in the top 100, and I asked them some questions about the best way to train in Rocket League. Today's video features King, Ranny, Ahduhm, and Kevpert. These guys will all introduce themselves later, but for now, all you need to know is that these guys all deserve a lot of love for taking time to sit down with me, so please go check them out. All of their links will be down in the description. I hope you guys enjoy the video. It's obviously a longer one, but I learned a ton, and hopefully you will too. Let's just get right into it. All right, so first question here. If you had to give a 10 to 15 second introduction to someone who has never heard of you before, what would you say?
Oh, nice shot.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
all right, let me think of this for a second. All right, so my name is King Ranny. I am a content creator for Space Station Gaming. I'm known for being a high-level 1v1 player. I've played on Johnny Boy's channel quite a bit. And I've been playing the game since it came out about 5 years ago.
Beautiful.
That's pretty much it.
It's gonna be hard to not like focus on the game. I'm like, I don't want to get clapped by you. But yeah,
Oh, you're already in the lead. You're fine. You got to get going already.
No, that's perfect. All right, so next question here. When did you first start playing Rocket League? And if you had to guess how many hours you had as of right now, what would you say?
When I first started playing Rocket League, it was 2 weeks after the game came out.
Oh wow, okay.
And what was the other part of it?
If you had to guess how many hours you had as of right, oh my goodness.
I'll tell you exactly how many hours I have. I am only at 8,740 hours.
That's a lot of hours. That's like more than, oh my goodness. I thought I had a lot. I think I have like 4K. I think I just hit that.
Yep.
That's nuts. That makes sense though. Like, if you've been playing for like 5 years now. That's pretty sweet.
Quite a bit too.
In those over 8,000 hours, what would you say have been some of your proudest accomplishments in your time playing?
I've hit number 1 in 1v1s a couple times.
Number 1?
Yeah,
that's
that
awesome.
was back in like season 5, I think. So a while back.
Oof.
And other big one would probably, well, there's 2 more. One of them would be getting to be a part of Johnny Boy's show matches.
Sure.
Because that's, you know, kind of the peak of 1v1s, and also becoming a part of Space Station Gaming and picking me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
What has it been like for you, just like joining SSG? Has it been like surreal, or are you kind of pretty used to it now, or what do you think?
Definitely surreal, but it's been about 6 months now, so getting used to it, but it still doesn't. It's still a bit surreal, yeah.
Sure.
They run it extremely well. The people, my boss Sean Duras is just the coolest guy ever.
That's awesome.
And the rest of the people that they chose to be a part of SSG, the other content creators, are all amazing.
So the next thing, literally a question I threw in just because I knew that you'd be in this. Would you say that there is anything about your play style that would be unique from other players around your level? Does that make sense? So like things that most people don't do that you do.
So for me, I do a lot of quick turns with drifting.
Sure.
I'm very much known for my drifting ability, because it's something I've worked on from the very beginning. You almost got me there.
Yeah,
I used to be known for being just a huge ball chaser, partially because I could turn extremely quickly and accurately pretty much anytime I wanted to. But I've kind of pulled back on that a little bit, and I've been a bit more strategic on when I should be doing those turns.
Sure.
So not quite as ball chasey as I used to be.
Nice. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Do you feel like kind of like drifting and stuff like that, is that something that you just like, did you just like find that one day, or like did you kind of realize no one was doing it, or like where did it come from, I guess, if that makes sense?
Yep. So I started doing it whenever I think I was less than 400 hours in the game. I was watching a Coacherino stream. He used to stream way back in the day, like season 1,
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he was one of the few streamers that had a controller overlay up.
Oh, okay.
And I noticed for pretty much every turn that he was doing, and this was like early Rocket League, almost every turn he was doing it looked like he was drifting. And I was just like, huh, it must be pretty important, because I'm never using the drift button. So I just started really using a lot, and I started having a lot of fun with it. I wanted to kind of see how much it could be utilized. Just got kind of addicted to it. So I just I worked on a lot of for a while it was drift shooting, so drift shots. So
Okay.
drifting for a long time and then like predicting where the ball would bounce and then hitting it off the bounce as at the end of my drift.
Sure.
It hit some really cool stuff with that, but it was way too inconsistent to kind of keep on doing up at the highest level because it just took a while. So now what my main focus has been on like drift dribbling and drift catching.
Nice. Oh man, I'm too focused. It's not even
Yeah.
working. Oh, easy saves. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so
Gotcha.
split. All right, so getting into kind of like the meat and potatoes of the content here. How would you describe the importance that training has when it comes to improving as a player?
Ooh. I would say it's incredibly important. It's important when you want to learn new mechanics. You kind of need, in Rocket League, in my opinion, you want, on the shot, you almost always want to spend some time in training, whether it's free play or like a custom training to work on new mechanics.
Sure.
But I think training is the best way to get better at certain things. For example, aerial game, shooting, because you get a lot more, you get training with it a lot faster. You get more repetition with it. More than you would if you just kind of randomly do it in games. So I think it's a tool to be used to learn things quicker. How much quicker? It's hard to say, but definitely quicker.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And we'll kind of get into a little bit more like specifics too of like what do you practice? What does that look like? Oh my goodness, what a shot. Oh, easy. No. What have you found to be the best way to balance training with playing online?
I try to always have about a 30-minute warm-up. If I'm really feeling it, or if I feel like I'm just like playing really poorly, I'm in a bit of a slump, I do more than 30 minutes. But if I do that, then usually that's, enough time to get myself warmed up and also, a decent amount of time to be working on some of the mechanics I want to be getting better at.
Sure.
But for a long time now, the beginning of my warm-ups have almost always been working on shooting a shot.
Thank you. Nice little drift turn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. Do you have any kind of like warm-up routine or training routine? Those are kind of two different things, I guess. Yeah. If so, what does that look like for you?
So I don't have a single one because there's so many different things to be working on in the game. But I like to tailor my warm-up for whatever game mode I'm going to be playing.
Sure.
So, for example, if I feel like I'm going to be playing a lot of 1v1s on any given day, and I'm planning on queuing it, I like to do about 10 minutes of striker training, 10 minutes of dribbling and flicking, and then maybe like a workshop map.
Would you say that you have like you kind of already answered this, but would you say that you've kind of like changed your training routine over time, or do you kind of usually stick to like a pretty consistent routine, or what does that look like for you?
I'd say I usually stick with the same routine at least a few days in a row. I don't switch it every single day if that's kind of what you're asking. Yeah, I kind of base it off of what game I'm wanting to be playing on, or if I feel like I get really inspired from another top player and I see them doing like some really cool shots, utilizing a mechanic that I'm not very good at. Sometimes I switch up my routine to start working on that. Good example of that would be recently watching Wanamike play, and he did like the air dribble gauntlet. He's really, really good at the air dribble gauntlet, and I'm okay at it. Okay. I'm okay at it, but he definitely inspired me to start working on it, so I stopped doing like the dribble challenge for a few days just to do the air dribble gauntlet workshop map. And I've been doing that for like the past week now. It's like have fun.
Oh man, yeah, I really do boost so much more. Easy reads.
Oh.
All right, so we can get back into it. So, in all your time of training, obviously you've probably put a lot of hours into it. Is there any single thing that you have practiced that you just like really are glad you put all that time in? Does that make sense? Like, oh, I'm really glad I put 100 hours into shooting, or I'm really glad I put 1,000 hours into like flip resets, or like anything like that. Is there anything that sticks out to you when you think about everything that you've trained?
Well, I'd definitely say shooting. Shooting raised my rank just alone pretty substantially. Made me a lot more consistent. I hated missing open nets.
Same. Was there
But,
like a specific way that you went about like putting in hours to that? Like, did it all look the same? Did you mix it up?
mainly the strength and accuracy training pack.
Sure.
But I sprinkled in some other training packs on top of that, like ground shots by Poquito, air roll shots. But really just staying consistent with at least one a day. I think is what helped me the most.
Yeah, and I can absolutely like link all those in the description as well, or I'll probably put it on the screen. So kind of along with that, if you, I'll get in. Easy.
Listen.
Yeah, let's go. If you're trying to practice something new, whether it's like a mechanic or like car control, how would you go about learning it if you had no idea how to do it?
So I think you should always either look up tutorials on YouTube. If not that, then at least go find a pro doing it, and try to find them doing it once, and then like slow it down, rewatch it a billion times until you can replicate it.
For
I think
sure.
that's how pretty much everyone, at least most people that I know, have improved at things. They imitate. If they're not innovating, they're imitating.
I'm gonna get that as a banner over my room now. What element of training would you say people tend to neglect the most?
I say shooting.
Shooting.
Definitely shooting, yeah. So everyone's working on aerial stuff because it's flashier. You really want to try to put more time to the basic stuff, in my opinion. You can't neglect it. So if you do, then you're just going to be missing open nets.
Yeah. I think that's really well said. I see a lot of people, not that I am by any means in like a place to give like coaching to everybody and stuff like that, but I have like people pop in every now and then and ask like, how can I like get out of gold? Like I can flip reset. I'm like, well, like, that's probably not the
Exactly.
issue. Like,
Yeah.
people
Good
think,
job learning flip resets. Like, can you hit a wide open net that's literally in front of the goal?
Yeah,
If the ball's slowly rolling in front of you.
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
you're gonna take it up the wall and try to flip reset and hope you score it.
yeah. I feel like the most common answer I give is like you just need to be able to get good at like hitting the ball hard and like being consistent at like what you're trying to do. Like it's great if you can hit a flip reset, but like if you're missing like 8 out of 10 open nets, it doesn't matter, you know?
Exactly.
What would you say are some of your favorite custom training packs or workshop maps that you like to use when training? I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but
Yeah, strength and accuracy. If I'm working on aerial control, I've always, what I've been using lately to get really good at it, nice shot, is Kevpert's elite car control training.
Oh yeah.
He uses a workshop map called Parkour Map, and it's really, really good. It was made in, like, he made that video in 2007 or 2017, I believe. Yeah, many years ago, and it's still applicable to this day. It's so helpful. So I've been putting a lot of time into that to be able to learn how to control my car upside down, sideways, spinning, everything. So that, strength and accuracy for shooting. Rings map's really good for aerial control as well.
So kind of like we talked about earlier, it seems to be like a pretty general consensus for the. Oh, hold on, let me score this open net.
Jesus, Ranny.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do it. I haven't done my warm up yet. It's not fair.
True. Yeah, you haven't done your routine. How are you supposed to be hitting these? You know. It's easy. But it seems like a pretty general consensus that consistency is one of the most important factors when it comes to improving and being a top level player. Do you think there are any secret tips or tricks to getting more consistent, or do you think it's just something that you have to grind out?
I'm gonna go back and just say that it's still probably the warm up routine. Have a warm up routine. Don't just go straight into ranks. I see so many people do that. If you're just sitting in the main menu, whenever you're in between games, just don't do that. At least be in free play, at the very least. The more time that you spend touching the ball, the better.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point too, because it's like
there's just so much like wasted time.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever found yourself in a position where you didn't know what to work on, or you didn't know what to practice? And if so, what did you do?
I think if you really don't know what to practice, well, that's kind of silly, because you can always be working on consistency. But what I've done a few times is I watch montages.
Oh, okay.
Nothing's more inspiring than a good, pulse montage.
Just watching you vehicles pop off.
Yeah, for one thing, like it's them popping off, but it's also them being really creative.
Yeah, sure.
Freestylers have a lot of creativity, and you can maybe be inspired by that as well.
Yeah, I know. Me and my buddy that we play twos a lot. Like he always says he feels really good after he watches someone play and like just pop off. Not going in.
It is.
Oh, my brain is so big.
This is why you train striker training, guys. Don't skip out on striker training. It's like leg day.
Of course, and you can't, it's like boomer mode training is like the leg day of training. Like you gotta make sure you throw it into the routine, otherwise you're gonna get spanked when you get asked to be. Oh no.
This guy missing this.
Oh, you don't score these.
Okay. I held my breath.
If someone is not used to training, what would you say is the best place to start if they wanna improve more?
I can't get it. I think following a routine, watching this video is one thing you could do.
Oh. Sponsored.
Yeah, watch educational Rocket League streamers. They come out with really good like routine videos and ways to improve. If you don't know how to, what to do, going completely blind into it, then, learn from someone else.
No, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Probably the most important question. Where can people find you if they want some more King Ranny? Where can they go?
You could go to my Twitch, twitch.tv/KingRanny, or you can go to my YouTube at youtube.com/KingRanny.
Nice.
I believe.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate this so much. Thank you for your time, and really appreciate all the good feedback and beating you in boomer mode. It's pretty fun.
No problem. It was fun. Bye, YouTube.
All right, so to kick this off with our first question here, if you had to give a 10 to 15 second intro to someone who has never heard of you before, what would you say? Like, how would you intro yourself?
My name is Ahduhm. I play Rocket League at I'd say semi-professional level, trying to get to the professional level. And yeah, I love playing the game. It's a lot of fun. Oh, also, wait, let me add to that. I'm 16 years old and I'm a junior in high school as well.
Nice. Okay. Do you play for any teams at the moment?
I play on Team Nefarious, which consists of me, Buddy, and Jaywiz. Buddy and Jaywiz both have rival series, and Jaywiz has RLCS experience, so
nice.
Yeah, I got good mentorship, which is nice.
That is cool. When did you first start playing Rocket League, and about how many hours would you say that you have at the moment?
So I first started playing Rocket League right when it came out in 2015, actually. So I had PlayStation 4. Close one. I got in a PlayStation 4 after the release of Black Ops 3. Well, before the release of Black Ops 3. Originally, I played Black Ops 2 on console with my brother and a bunch of our friends. And so once we were tired of Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 was coming out, we all got PS4s. And there was about I'd say a 3-month period before Black Ops 3 came out that we just needed other games to play. And at that time, Rocket League was free to play on console. So we all decided to buy it, and that's when we first started like really playing the game. It was originally like when you first get the game, it's just really fun because it's car soccer. How can you not enjoy car soccer?
Of course, yeah. I enjoyed getting stuffed right there. That was nice.
Yeah. So that's when I first started playing. Ever since then, I played it on and off those years. Like I'd say 2015, 16, and 17. I probably had like under 100 hours, and probably 50 to 60 of those came all in 2015, right when we were waiting on Black Ops 3 to come out. So yeah, after that, I'd say around 2018 is when I really started playing and like loving the game. And then I remember getting, I think it was Superstar, which was like,
oh yeah, it was like a top blue rank, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was his top blue rank. It was like 3 or 4 ranks below Grand Champ. And that's when I really like started like, hey, I might be able to do something in this game. And at the time, esports is also growing, which was a huge factor. And so yeah, I mean, ever since then, I just started really loving the game and grinding. And then in June of 2018, which was my birthday June 10th, I got a computer, and then I just continued playing, grinding the game, and now I'm here. And I have I have about, on PC right now I have 3,800 hours, but on console in total I probably had like 400 or 500.
That is super cool. That's a lot of hours. I think last time I checked I had like maybe like 4,000. I feel like I've been playing it for so long. But,
Yeah.
But so in the time that you've played Rocket League, what would you say have been some of your like proudest accomplishments or like your biggest moments? So like it doesn't have to be necessarily like your highest. So like it could have been like the first time you hit Superstar, you just felt like super cool, or like yeah.
No, definitely the first time I hit Grand Champ on console was a huge moment for me, because like Grand Champ was like actually hard to get back in the day. So people really had to grind for it, and you had to actually be like a pretty good player. But then obviously there's the, oh, you're on console, you're only playing console kids.
Sure.
But, yeah, you know, getting that, I'd say that's definitely one of my biggest moments. And then getting the rewards and getting the first GC tag.
Yeah.
That was huge for me.
Yeah. Do you remember what season that was?
I have the season 7 or 8 tag, I believe.
Nice. Okay.
Another big moment was with the first season I was able to compete in Rival Series. Me, and at the time I was teamed with Kiri and Hockey Ducks. We made the qualifiers, and we lost to, at the time it was Compadres, which was Skills, Astro, and Zombie Poop Shark. And then we also lost to, who was the other team? Oh, Zookeepers, which was Tool, Bambi, and Porklet. So I mean, we had 2 chances to qualify, but that was when I really like knew like, oh, I could make it pro in this game. Like one day I'll be able to be better than
what a shot.
these people I'm playing against.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, man, I could probably do something with this if I like took it seriously and kind of grind it a little bit. Would you say that there's anything that makes your play style unique from other high-level players? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Well, everybody in this game, like, to be a professional player, you have to have mechanics. So that's just one thing that I think everybody has. Some people have better mechanics than others, but then, like, you have the players like Astral and Justin, and like, there's so many players with great mechanics that the list goes on. And then you have the people like Turbo Pulso who are just really consistent. Like, they're very, like, their presence on the field is known, and obviously he's a 4-time world champion, but obviously he's not known for his mechanics. So
Yeah.
but I'd say my playstyle, I feel like I'm a very creative player on offense, and I also think that translates to defense, where we can go from being pressured a lot to me having the ball and getting it past all 3 defenders and scoring. So
How would you describe the importance that training has when it comes to just like improving as a player? Like, would you say it's important to train, not so important? What do you think?
100%, it's very important to train as a Rocket League player, and a lot of people who have these like really high amounts of hours, like there's people with like 7,000 hours and they're still not very good at the game, and they wonder why they're not good. It's because they just play the game just to play it. They don't like focus on anything while they play.
Yeah, they're just playing boomer mode.
Yeah, yeah. Like the way I train, most of the time, obviously, ranked over the seasons has gotten a lot worse, but at the same time, it's still one of the best ways to train in this game.
Just
no matter
ranked.
what people say, yeah, ranked will always be, just because you're playing the game, like you're playing with random people, but it gets you, like, you learn all the different play styles in this game and how different people play, and you also learn different tendencies people have, and that translates to a higher level for sure. Before tournaments, usually I spend about 30 minutes before our scrim, because we always get a scrim before tournaments. I spend 30 minutes just working on like personal things, like things like in training I'll just go and I'll just flip around the field to get a feel for my car and to like be ready.
Get destroyed.
Yeah. No, but I'll just flip around the field for 5 to 10 minutes just to get a feel for my car, and then I'll do this aim trainer for shots, and you have to score at a certain part of the net. I do that for about 10 minutes, and then I just do some simple training packs like redirect packs, aerial packs, just everything.
Sure.
Any type of custom training pack, and yeah, custom training's definitely huge. I think that's a big way you can improve in this game.
What would you say has been the best way for you to balance like training with like playing online? Like, I know you kind of just hit on it when you said that like one of the best ways is to like play ranked, but how would you suggest somebody balances playing? What a shot. But does that kind of make sense? Like, how much time do you train versus like play games?
See, I like to So basically the only game modes I really play are 2s and 1s. I don't really play that much 3s because the ranked 3v3 grind, or like just the ranked 3s isn't as good as it used to be. But most of the time, like if you're trying to balance it, like people play free play for hours, and that's something I do also, like just sitting in free play and just working on mechanics and your speed and everything like that. And like balancing it, it's, you just don't want to overplay yourself. Like I don't think there's really a balance between free play and ranked. Obviously playing too much ranked isn't good for you. I wouldn't suggest playing ranked for 4 hours a day. I don't think that's very smart. Playing ranked all the time isn't good because it creates bad habits and bad tendencies, and that can really screw up your play style. But yeah, I sit in free play for hours on days. Like sometimes it's hours. Like usually I don't sit in it for 3 hours straight, but I spread out my time. Like I'll be in there for like 30 minutes one day, or one time in the day, and then I'll go in for another 30 minutes another time, and maybe I'll queue some 1s matches as well. Don't burn yourself out of the game by playing too much, and don't queue too much ranked. Those are the two biggest things.
Do you have any kind of training routine, and if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, so basically when I'm just hopping on for the day, I usually I go in training. I just mess around a little bit with my car. I don't hit the ball. I just get a feel for my car so that I can like better hand-eye coordination is basically what it's supposed to be for, and it definitely works. It's something I've only started doing like the last like 2 months ish, and I didn't think it would help at first, but once I started doing it, it really helped. And then after I work on my hand-eye coordination, I work on just shooting packs. There's this one specific workshop that I use. It's called Coco Aim Trainer. And
oh yeah, I have that. I think. What a shot!
Yeah, it's
is that the one where it's like you can choose like easy, medium, or like survival, and then it's like yeah, I do that a lot too. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that workshop. I do that for a little bit on training packs, shooting, or more shooting. Yeah, I do that a lot actually, because it's one part of my game I think I need to work on. But shooting, redirects, anything you can think of, I'll be working on it.
So when you think back on like all your time that you've trained, would you say that there's any single thing that you have trained that has been the most worthwhile? Like, is there anything that you look back and you're like, man, I'm really glad I put like 1,000 hours into shooting, or like whatever it is?
I think just mechanics in general. Specifically, when I was a lot younger playing this game, when I was like, I got my PC when I was 14, and I was very ahead of my time for double touches. Like back then, people didn't score as many double touches as they do today, and mechanics just in general weren't as huge back then. It was more of who's just the best consistent overall player. And I think I'm really happy that I worked on my mechanics early, because it set me up for my playstyle today.
Oh, that's a goal.
And that is a goal. But yeah, my mechanics for sure.
If you are trying to practice something new, whatever it may be, how would you go about learning it? So like say that you had like no idea how to flip reset, but you wanted to learn it. How would you go about trying to practice it?
Using a custom training pack is always good, but I think going in ranked, when you're trying to learn something new or learn a new mechanic that's actually useful, it's not, some mechanics aren't useful that people try to learn.
Sure.
Like things like doing the wall dash, like maybe it'll be useful later in this game, but right now at least it's not a huge thing. But like if you're trying to learn how to do a new mechanic or learn how to flip reset, just going in ranked and trying it. Your teammates might not be happy with you because you might get your team scored on, but just practicing it, just practice. That's the only way to get better at this game. There's no other way to get better. So, and I think learning something new, it's easiest to practice it in a game-like scenario than it is compared to practicing it in training. So, what
part of training would you say people tend to neglect the most?
Tend to neglect the most?
So maybe,
that's a good question.
Oh, thank you.
I think neglect the most. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know if you count this as a form of training, but I think a lot of people don't do replay review.
Ooh, like I would absolutely consider it. Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people think that it's helpful, but really, if you can do replay review and point out your own mistakes, especially if you're with a team. If you can point out your own mistakes, and if you're close enough with your teammates to be able to point out their mistakes and to take constructive criticism, I think that's huge, because being able to do that's a huge form of improvement. Like, it helps you improve so much faster. Like, we went from, me, Buddy, and Jaywiz went from being like really bad, and we didn't really have a playstyle in the beginning. And once we did replay review with our coach, like, our whole playstyle changed, and we were just a much bigger threat to everybody we played. So yeah, I think replay review is it's an underrated source of improvement.
What would you say are some of your favorite custom training packs that you like to use, or workshop maps?
Yeah, so I use the main 4 that I use are the workshop is Coco's training. I do that a lot. Another workshop actually is I have done Left and Mirror's rings, the rings map. I've done that multiple times. That's pretty helpful with aerial control. You're trying to learn how to control your car more. But I use 3 packs. One of them I made my own is for backboard reads, like hard backboard reads in multiplayer. In online matches. Just tried to make it as game-like scenario as possible. And I also try to use as little boosts as possible. That's something that hard to do, but you got to do it because you're not always gonna have 100 boosts in the game. So I use my own custom training pack. I use one called Redirects V1, and then I use Torment's I don't know what it's called. I think it's double touches or something like that.
Sure.
It's called something, but it's a pack by Torment that I've used a lot. And yeah, those are basically the 4 training packs you could say that I use.
So the last question I have is just where can people find you? If people want more Ahduhm, where can they go?
Twitter, my Rocket League in-game name is just @Ahduhm, AHDUHM. Yeah, that's about it.
Just Twitter. Just Twitter.
Just Twitter.
I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thanks a lot for the games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, we can go ahead and just get started. So first question right off the bat, if you had to give like a 10 to 15 second intro to like for someone who's never heard of you before, what would you say?
Well, so I have my own YouTube channel, which has been quite inactive for a while, but I started in the scene, just making tutorials. It started with the idea of just wanting to help lower level players, which I was at the time, like, you know, like your classic diamond level player, and figure out, or your platinum level player, and say, you know what, like, it's not that hard to get to that next level if you know what you're doing.
Sure.
And so I was trying to figure out the best ways to teach that, and so that's where I started, and then that's been my path. Right now, I'm kind of trying to be a competitive player.
What are you kind of up to nowadays?
Well, I have my own like community org, which we use to develop players, and really it started with this idea of we want to develop a certain way of playing, and then coach that. Nice move.
Oh.
And we wanted a more unique style of play, which has kind of changed over time. But we have coaches, we have dedicated players. You know, we try to professional team culture and stuff like that. Really dedicated mechanics training.
When did you first start playing Rocket League, and about how much playtime and like how many hours would you say you have as of right now?
Okay, so literally off launch, I played on the PS4. It was on PlayStation Plus, right? And so it was like the free game, and then I didn't touch it for like 2-3 months, and then so about November of 2015. So it's been good 5 years.
Sure.
Since I've been playing, and I think I run 9,000 hours.
Dang. In your time, what's been kind of the biggest things that you've seen change? Obviously, as somebody who's been around the block, a lot has changed in the game. What are some things that have stuck out to you, do you think?
The amount of space on the field has shrunk considerably.
Sure.
The sheer, like, I remember back in the day, you would only be scared of a few people's mechanics. Like, you know, I'd be in lobbies with like Dapper or Justin. You'd be like, okay, you know, this guy, you got to give space. So when you're playing against that team, like these pro teams, you're just kind of watching out for like a player. Now it's everyone.
Yeah.
And what differentiates a good team or a bad team is no longer mechanics. I think a lot of these players are equivalent or even better at mechanics than the pros.
Yeah.
At my level now. So it's been really interesting seeing teams like BDS come from relatively nowhere. Just dominate.
Would you say, when it comes to like your play style, would you say that there's anything that makes your play style unique from other players around your level? Would you say there's anything that sticks out?
I do use a lot of kind of like wall play, dodge mechanics.
Sure.
Which I don't see used that often, unless at the top level you see it a little bit.
How would you describe the importance that training has, just in general, when it comes to improving as a player?
Well, it's like almost 100% of the picture, I think. But if you're talking about like dedicated, training focus, where either in ranked or using that to improve, or analysis, or doing mechanical training, I don't think I've really just gotten on and played casually in a long time.
What have you found to be the best way to balance training with playing online? Like, what's the time look like? Different ways to balance it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think roughly a little over, like, about 60 minutes to 90 minutes is dedicated to mechanical play for me, or mechanical training. And then usually with the group, like my team, I'll play a couple hours, 2.5 hours. So that's roughly my daily schedule.
So in all your time of training, is there anything that sticks out that you're really glad you put the amount of time into it that you did? So like, man, I'm really glad I put in, 100 hours of aerial stops or double taps, or like, do you look back and think you're really glad that you practiced anything in particular?
I think the dodge control, especially off the wall, and being able to extend your hits, and or you're on defense and you're tight, you're in a crunch a bit, and under a lot of pressure as a team, and you're just that one dude, you can just dribble it out. With about 30.
If you had to maybe explain dodge control for someone that might not have heard of it before, how would you kind of define it?
So think about your air dribble off the wall, right? You usually have to have really good conditions to be able to do that. Maybe I can just stand straight. But you just kind of stay with the ball with your dodge in all sorts of different situations. Using pre-flips, using the recoil of the ball. Using
your dodge to kind of continue to keep possession, or like control the ball, kind of?
Just to give yourself a little more range with what you can do.
So if you were trying to practice something new, whether it's like a mechanic, or maybe oh my, what a stuff, or maybe someone's watching this and they want to practice dodge control, just anything in general, what would you say would be the best way to going about learning something new?
So I'll show you flip resets, kind of my methodology for that, because it was a long process for me to learn how to do like what Evample's doing, the double flip reset, which you use a stall. So first I had to break what his technique was down into several key moments. It's like the setup, what movement he's doing, and then I would practice the movement without a ball in zero gravity or in inverse gravity in training. And then when I actually got around to doing the flip reset, I would do it at 70% speed using Bacchus mod, then gradually upping it until like 80%, 90%, 100. Then I would practice 1v1s, just like freestyle 1v1s with my friends. And then eventually got to the point where I could hit kind of those double reset shots. But that's kind of more for fun, you're not really hitting double reset shots.
not the most common shot in game, yeah, for sure.
Probably can only do it in ones on a semi-regular basis.
What element or elements of training would you say people tend to neglect the most?
I think it's when you don't have experience, which is going to be the majority of listeners of top level experience. It's hard to use your own mind and your own experience to figure out what you need to work on.
Sure.
Because when you look at a pro and you see them do like basic fast aerial or a pre-jump off the wall or something, or they go for a rebound and they don't have to wait for the ball to hit the wall, and you just see them do a technique, it looks so simple because it's the basics. And a lot of players have trouble relating that to their own and comparing it to their own ability. They say, okay, I can. It looks like I think I can do that. When in reality, if you go into training, you set up that shot, you might only hit it 5-10% of the time with the quality that the pros do. So I think that is the biggest thing. It's like you really overestimate your own ability because players tend to think about what they do well, and then that defines how they see themselves.
Do you have any like just go-to like favorite custom training maps or workshops that you like to use when you're training?
Yeah, I love the left mirror rings map for I'll just put on zero gravity, use a custom gravity plugin, or upside down, or any of the rings maps. Really, they're all awesome. You know the Hornet's Nest map?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll do that on zero grav. Yeah, I actually ended up doing 30 minutes yesterday.
Nice. Oh my goodness, I'm getting spanked. Tell me a little bit more about zero gravity. Like you've talked about it a lot. Like I personally, I've never really used it, and I would assume probably a lot of other people haven't as well. Yeah, just tell me about like the benefits of it. How would you use it?
So the plugin's on bacchusplugins.com. It's just a custom gravity plugin made by Halfway Dead, and the usefulness of it is like, think about hitting a double tap and you're a little over the ball and you need to adjust down or to the side or whatever, and you're so used to just doing normal arrows where you go up, and you don't have that control because you're not getting enough reps in game of boosting down. So zero gravity allows you to, in a less punishing environment than upside down, freestyle, work on your freestyle movements, get 360-degree control of your car, as opposed to just up and down, which you master doing normal arrows in training.
Right.
And so I really like it for that.
It seems like a pretty general consensus that consistency is one of the most important factors when it comes to being like a top level player. Do you think there are any secret tricks or tips to kind of grow consistency, or do you think it's just something that can just has to be like hammered out over time?
You can speed it up considerably with the proper training. When people say consistency, I think you're talking about consistency of your touches, right? So for someone that's starting out doing double taps, I just remember, you set it up on the wall and then you go from there, and you hit one, right? And you're really happy hitting your first one, and then you hit a few more, and then you think, okay, I feel like I've mastered double taps. But the thing is, when you go and look at the pros, they're doing it at supersonic speed. I call them laser taps because they're so fast. When pros are talking about consistency, they're talking about doing it at the fastest and most quality. So you have to train with the fastest and most, the highest quality in mind.
Right.
So if you can do that and you figure out how to do that with a lot of reps, a lot of quality, it's simple math, really.
Yeah.
You're gonna get better.
Have you ever found yourself in a position where you weren't sure what to work on or practice? And if so, what would you say to someone who might feel like they are in that spot?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I felt like that in the past when there wasn't, the training resources. I remember using an app called Rocket League Trainer back in the day, before custom training was a thing.
Sure.
And I remember thinking, as I was going up the ranks, what should I work on next? And nowadays I don't have that concern because I have a lot of awareness about where I am at and where my weaknesses are, and I have a routine, so I'm still working on the same things every day. But back then I was like, okay, I want to work on arrow shots, but then right after that I would be like, I want to work on double taps or redirects, but no one's telling me what to do next. That was that can be really tough. But I would say that there's always the fundamentals, right? Your rotations.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're striking the ball. Think about how many times you're going to strike the ball. Think about how many times you're going to power slide in a game. Work on the things that come up the most in a game and master those. The rest can come later. You can do, harder, more mechanical things like double taps, more and more later. But work on the basics of your dodge, your dribbles, your air dribbles, stuff like that.
Your backboard saves and hoops.
yeah. Backboard saves, your wall power clears, hits that you need to make in a game.
I just have one more question, and then we'll be done. Where can people find more of you? People are like, man, I want more Kevpert after watching this video. Where can they go?
Oh, that's kind of tough because I've been inactive, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, my DMs are always open in Twitter, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. It's at KevpertRL.
Perfect.
That's where you reached out, right? So
yeah.
I might not be prompt about because I don't go on Twitter too often, but I will see them for sure.
Now's the time if you have anything burning on your mind.
Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. Always be humble and be patient. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me. I always love talking about the game. So
for really sure, dude. And that's the video. I really hope you learned something from this. There were definitely a couple things that I took away personally from each of the guys that I talked to. Be sure to check out the description for all the channels and training packs and everything that was mentioned. And if you want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next time I upload. That's all I got. I hope you know that Jesus loves you, and so do I. We'll see you in the next one.